Hello, everybody. Hello, all the members of Indo-Thai Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, who have been the backbone of this film. And please, thank you for your kind words, but I don't deserve most of it. Um, I don't know. I've been talking since November about this film, non-stop. Whatever I had to say, I've said in the film. It's a failure of a filmmaker if you still have to say more. So, Pallavi has explained everything to you. Our lives are like open books. I especially don't hide anything. Whatever I do, think, it's on social media, so you can read there. But I want to share something for the first time with you. I've never shared this thing ever before in my life. And while I was sitting over there, I was looking at all the faces, the awake faces and sleeping faces also. So, and I was seeing most of them belong to Bharat. I was looking at each and every face. I was studying face. I'm a director, so I study faces. And I couldn't find any face from India. Almost every face is from Bharat. Now, this is something very strange. You will not understand what I am leading you to. What we call India, earlier it used to be called Indian subcontinent, but slowly, I think somewhere, the Western media started calling it India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. But if I look at the whole thing, starting from Iran, Iraq, up to Japan, there is something which connects this entire region. And what is that? That is our family system. Right from Middle East, if you start and you go up to Japan, a great value is being put on a family. I'm sure Thai people will agree with me. Am I right, sir? Okay. If you are asked what is that one thing which you are not willing to compromise on, you will say my family. If somebody asks you, why are you working so hard? Why are you going out of India and earning so much of money? What is the first thing which comes to your mind? Oh, my parents have sacrificed so much for me. I want them to be happy. I want to look after them when they are old. Trust me, these are very Eastern thoughts. These are not very Western thoughts. We have put family above everything else. We are willing to live for our family. We are willing to die for our family. Look at these old parents, 70-year-old, 80-year-old parents. They leave everything and go to their child's house to raise their child. And they stay for months and months. So what is this family? Is this family restricted to those 4 or 5 people who grow up in four walls? I think that's a very modern concept. When I started studying the origin of Hindu philosophy, where does it begin from? It begins from the entire Hindu philosophy, if you have to put, it's basically, it lies on 2 pillars. One pillar which says this world is a family. This entire world is a family. And when we say world, I'm sure you must be thinking about other human faces. No. It says even that stone which is lying on the road is also part of the family. Which simply means that you look at everything with a lot of care. You care about everything in this universe like you care about your family. And once you have this feeling, the world becomes really a very beautiful place. This is what I learned when I was very, very young, growing in a middle-class Indian family. And what are those values of family? Trust each other. Do something with sincerity. Do things without expecting any returns. When you do something for your brother or your sister or your mother, or when a mother is sacrificing so much for the child, she's not expecting this child is someday going to give me millions of dollars. She is doing it out of unconditional love. So in a typical Indian middle class family, you are taught you to believe in unconditional love and treat everything and everybody like a family. Now, this is something which every mother teaches you, every father teaches you, all the books which stories you learn, they also tell you the same thing, be it Ramayana or Mahabharata or Vedas or Upanishad or Buddhist philosophy. Everything is like that. Don't hurt anybody, love everybody, care for everybody. And then only the world becomes one big family. Now, this is one thought which has been also professed by the modern Western world. They also talk a lot about humanity. They also talk about caring, compassion, empathy, and all those things. So I also grew in this contradiction, how to treat this world as a family. And slowly then you grow up, you get education in convent schools, you go to modern universities. They teach you a lot about human rights, but never about humanity. They talk you a lot about liberalism, but never about how to become a liberal person. I also grew up in that kind of contradiction, and my whole thinking also became that, okay, let's just impress people that yes, I believe there is a family, I believe there is humanity, I believe there is caring. But I could never see the power of caring, the power of empathy. Never. And if you ask people honestly, everybody talks about empathy. Very few people know what is empathy. But last 4 years have changed my entire thinking. I knew about God, but I had never ever experienced God. I knew about the divine power, but I had never experienced the divine power. All of us have a concept of divine. Very few people you will find in the world who will say, yes, I have experienced the divine. And I am telling you honestly, for the first time, I have experienced the divine. And this divine is coming from certain learnings, and those learnings I want to share with you very briefly. Learning number 1. As long as you are trying to impress others, the divine will never come close to you. It's only when you start expressing yourself, there are chances you will see the divine. Everything I did before this film was in some way or the other to impress others. How do we impress others? Okay, I know this story, and this is a very special way I can tell you a story. This is my story. Tashkent Files is my film. I have made it. I have crafted it in such a way. I am the one who thought about it. It was me. But the Kashmir Files, we ensured that we are invisible in that film. And these are technical things. We ensured that the cameraman is not seen, editor is not seen, director is not seen. Only thing which should be seen is the pain and suffering of the victims of Kashmir genocide. We traveled all over the world, we interviewed all the people. We cried listening to their stories, our eyes were swollen for months. I still think about it and tears start rolling. I have never experienced so much of pain and suffering in my entire life. It made me wonder that why these people have never shared their pain. They never shared their pain because they thought the world is a family, people will understand our pain. But we failed them. And we wanted to take that step of justice. We wanted people to understand that, okay, solutions may not be easy. It's not easy to find solutions of every problem. If somebody is expecting that after Kashmir Files, there'll be solutions, people will go back home. No, it's not going to happen. When a child falls and gets hurt and comes back home with a wound, the mother knows that it's going to take weeks for it to heal. But she says, no problems, beta, sab theek ho jayega. Only these 3-4 words, I am with you, and everything will be okay, have such a healing power, it is unbelievable. And that's why in the film, the soul dialogue of the film, every film has one dialogue which is the soul of the film. For me, the soul dialogue of the film is, टूटे हुए लोग बोलते नहीं, उन्हें सुना जाता है. Broken hearts don't speak. You got to hear. You got to listen to them. And this is the problem in this world. We are talking so much about empathy, but nobody is listening to the broken hearts. We are talking about empathy because we are trying to impress people how good I am. If there is real empathy in this world, nobody has to talk about it. We don't talk about oxygen all the times. We don't talk about the sky and the moon and the sun because it's there. We only talk about things which we are struggling with. So my first lesson was, whatever we hear, can we take it to the world? Can we communicate it to the world? And today I believe, yes, maybe we could achieve it, if not fully, in some way or the other, we have made the world hear the song of broken hearts. And that's where the divine lies. When you can take somebody's pain and communicate it to rest of the world, I think that's where the real miracle lies. And this is something you have to experience. This is not something that you say it's a formula. Because when old ladies, 80-year-old ladies, 70-year-old ladies, they come and they touch my feet. Some ladies put something in my hand, you know. Somebody comes, writes a small chit and puts it in my hand. Some women, they put 11 rupaye, 21 rupaye. There was a lady in Boston who's suffering the last stage of cancer, blood cancer, and I pray to God she doesn't suffer much. Middle of the night at 1 or 2, she called some boys to her house and she sent $5,000 to me. She said, I don't have anybody in this world to give it to. I want to leave it to people who are doing some service to the world. You know, such blessings are possible only when you surrender yourself to somebody's suffering. The problem with the Kashmiri genocide problem is that everybody is trying to appropriate those sufferings. Everybody is competing about suffering. They are saying, no, my pain is greater than your pain. Not 4,000 people, only 2,000 were killed. No, only 500 were killed. No, only 600 were killed. And that's where I saw a huge hypocrisy, because when Schindler's List came, nobody asked the director, Mr. Spielberg, okay, Jews claim 6 million people were killed. I want the exact figure. Tell me 5.5 million were killed. When it comes to Jews, Holocaust, nobody in this world questions how many were killed. But why with Kashmiri Hindu community? You don't need any evidence. The entire community lives outside of Kashmir. If there was no genocide, some people would have been living in Kashmir. Now, how do you communicate this without impressing people? So my strategy was very simple. Surrender yourself. Whatever people have told you, take their voice to the world. And we did, and you have seen how people are connecting. This film has united all the fragmented communities of India. And the biggest evidence is in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, Hindi language films do not release. Of this size, forget it. In Kerala, this film released in one show. And within no time, there were 100, 120 shows were running in Kerala. People were writing to me, they were saying, yes, we could not understand a lot. There were English subtitles though, but they could not understand a lot. But we understood more than what you have told in the film. In Tamil Nadu, the same thing happened. In Japan, it's been running. In Norway, Finland, Mozambique, Kenya, you name the countries where no Hindi film was ever released, even in those countries, people are calling those films. This became the most reviewed film ever on YouTube. Like Pallavi said, not even 1 penny was spent on marketing of this film. Nothing. Everything is being done by the people. 36 organizations in USA came together. Tibet organization, Sikh organization, Telangana association, Maratha organization, you name it, Physicians Association, the Christian Association, the Jews Association. Just few days ago, the Indo-Jew Association, they took out a rally in Florida. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, Chinese, Thai people, people from all over the world, they started coming and hugging people without even realizing whether they were Kashmiris or from some other Indian ethnicity. They hug them and they say, I'm sorry. This film is uniting human beings with other human beings in its own limited way. What else can be more divine than this? And like Pallavi said, we were tested at every step. It stopped so many times. First, when we started, there was not even a penny. We said, okay, let's go for research. When we went for research to US, things started happening. Then UK happened. Then so much networking happened. We had a script in our hands. COVID happened. COVID happened, thank God. Now in retrospect, I think I was sitting in the office, I had nothing to do, and I changed the entire script. And we changed the casting. Now I think if I had gone with the original script, it wouldn't have worked because I was trying to impress. See, I know about this problem. Now see it from my point of view. So we surrendered. There was no point of view. Second most important learning was that you are taught sky is the limit. And all the motivational speakers in the world make millions of rupees and dollars out of this sky is the limit, sky is the limit. With this film, I learned there is no sky. There is no limit. Absolutely. Don't say that this is the limit. Actually, sky is limitless. There is no limit. So there is no limit to human emotions. If you are sincere, if you are honest, and you do everything as work of God, trust me, eventually you will find your song. And last but not the least, the third biggest learning, all those things as a middle class son, I was told my parents and I hated them for that. What do they say? They say, be simple. Minimize your needs. Don't desire too much. They tell you, believe in sacrifice. And all these things you hate when you are growing up in a middle class family. You say they are saying is because they are not successful, they don't have money. But when I go out, I am going to, why not have desires? Why not have a good car? Why not have too many clothes? Sacrifice, simplicity. These two things. With this film, when I started this film, I saw there was so much of suffering. And I realized we also didn't have money. So first thing I did was, I said, minimize your needs. And I actually genuinely minimized my needs. That gave me a lot of freedom because when you need very little, it gives you a lot of freedom. You can survive in any kind of thing. It doesn't matter. Second thing, I never tell these kind of things, but I started wearing only black. For last 4 years, I have worn only black clothes because black is a color which absorbs a whole lot of things. The pain and suffering was so much that I didn't feel like wearing any other color. I thought wearing any color would be hurting the sensibilities of people I've been talking to. Now, these are little abstract things. You may find these are crazy things or a creative person is talking, but for me, these worked. I made my life very, very simple, extremely simple. Simplicity and sacrifice, these two things made this film happen. This is not just a film. Today you are looking at it like a film. Trust me, this is the beginning of a solution. 100 years later, trust me, not because I have made it, I know it. Like the Dandi March of Gandhi is remembered today as a milestone in the freedom struggle of India, trust me, not the film, but everything which happened around the film, this movement called the Kashmir Files is going to be 100 years later, will be remembered, trust me on this, as the Dandi March, of Kashmir, justice of Kashmir or to Kashmiri people. In the end, another thing my parents told me was about service and spirituality. They said, whatever you do, my father was a teacher, my mother was uneducated, both of them were freedom fighters. And they told me, whatever you do it as a service to your people. People does not mean your own brothers and sisters. People means the society you live in. Whatever you do it as service. And always have a sense of spirituality with whatever you do. And I genuinely practiced this in this film. We not even once thought we are doing it for money. You know me, everybody knows me through social media. Have you ever seen me posting figures? I don't even know how much business this film has done. I don't even care. And every single penny which will come to us, it will go back into doing the same kinds of things. We don't desire houses or cars and all those kinds. We desire nothing. All we desire is that India must shine. The great philosophy, the great Hindu philosophy should show light to the world, should lead the world towards oneness. That's my only desire in the balance years of my life. I need nothing. And fourth thing is spirituality. What is spirituality? We make it very complicated. Meditation is not spirituality. Yoga is not spirituality. Pranayama is not spirituality. Spirituality, why spirituality? Why do we meditate? To do what? Not to focus, not to concentrate. There are many skills. You do archery and you can learn focus and all those kind of things. We meditate for the simple reason, because human mind gets very distracted. And this distraction is generally towards bad habits. By habit, I don't mean smoking. Habits means, the power game and greed and desire and all those kind of things. That's why we believe in spirituality. So that it helps you move towards good habits. And all these 4 years, I have lived my life with a lot of spiritual thinking. And I have tried to change lots of habits. And I am from the bottom, I'm with a lot of sincerity, I'm talking to you. Look at life from this point of view. Every step of yours should lead you towards good habits. And good habits are service, seva as we call it, sacrifice. Sacrifice is the best habit you can have. And simplicity. So the essence are these 4 S as I call them: simplicity, sacrifice, service and spirituality. This is what my parents taught me, for which I hated them. All my life I struggled to run away from these 4 things. But in the end, I have learned that if you really want to experience the divine, it is impossible without practicing these 4 things. And you don't need any education for this. because my mother was not educated at all and she taught me all these things. All you have to do is be a good human being, believe that we are part of a very big family, and every action of ours is going to disturb the equilibrium of this family. So always be very conscious of what you do. Surrender yourself to the magic of the divine, and that's where, believe you me, the heaven lies, as you have seen right now. So I'm sorry I shared very personal things with you. Thank you very much for supporting this film.